For our second card that we're making, uh, we're doing this lovely card, and I used basically the materials I used was from Grace's Garden. I used the Hello Sentiment, and I used this amazing gate back here. And by just snipping it down the center, when I was done, it gives me this wonderful little gate that opens and closes. And then, of course, the leaves are from that gate as well. What I did here is basically I created a trapezoid shape. It's a big word. Um, so the trapezoid shape, basically I started with a square and then I came a 1/4 inch in and went down to the corner, a 1/4 inch and went down to the corner. So it's 2 inches across the top and it's going to be 2.5 inches across the bottom. And this is like 1 3/4 high. So if you go, wow, I really like this, I want to do this some more. So what are we doing with that little trapezoid, word of the day, paper thing? We are going to use, again, our wonderful vellum doily, and we're going to be placing it on top. And I'm going to bring this down so you can see what I am doing. So we're placing the doily on top. Now you might want to have a work surface because this is going to make a little bit of a mess. So I'm just going to take scrap paper, or if you had something that you could protect your surface with, wipe later, that would be great. Now the stuff that I am using, I have already pre-mixed, and for you Stamper Club gals, I pre-mixed it already. And how did I get that color? Well, the embossing paste comes in this wonderful jar. And when I opened the jar, I knew I did not want to color all of my beautiful stuff. So by keeping this nicely covered, I keep it able to be used forever and ever. And I just took some reinkers and I took a plate and I mixed it on a plate with reinkers. And that's basically it. You can have any color you want by just mixing it with a reinker. I had given each of you a knife to use. Mine's shiny, yours might be black, who knows. But what works better are these tools, and they're like only I think $6, $5. I think $5. So it's like $1.25 each tool. But I like this because it's flexible. You'll still be able to use yours with the knife I gave you, but this is kind of flexible. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay this down and kind of figure out what type of pattern, where I want to have things, if I want to have it centered or not. I'm not going to be overly worried about this, but you put yours where you like the look of it. I like it like that. So, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pick up a little bit with your knife, and then you're just going to spread it across and press it down in. See? So, will it work with a plastic knife? Yeah, it'll work with a plastic knife. But does this work better? Oh, yeah. So, and you might be going, oh, well, my fingers are kind of going to be in the way. I'm just going to go out to the edge here. And then just make sure I get all of that. And I go like this. So when I'm done, I'm just kind of, I don't want it blobby. So I'm just kind of scraping across it a little bit. It's got a nice coating. It's going to raise up. Okay. Now, if I really wanted to use this doily later and I wanted it to be sparkly, I'm going to go all the way out because I might be able to use this doily and it'll be all sparkly for, have a sparkly layer that I could use later on another project. So I'm just going out to my outside edge like that. Now, I mentioned having, and look, I have all of this stuff left over. I could just go, I could paint a wall with this, but I won't. So I am going to take my little towel that I have here because I want to take care of my tools. And by having this wet paper towel, I can just wipe it off. You know, sometimes it's good if you have the nice tools just to take soap and water, but this came off really clean with just a damp paper towel. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to lift this off and set it to the side, both of them. Okay. And this will be dry by the time we're done doing the next section of what we're going to do for the card. So I'm just going to put that to the side. Oh, look at that lovely snowflakey, shiny thing now. And my little cobblestone. I can't wait to use this for another project. Find a place to sit that. Okay, so now that I've gotten this done, we're going to start working on the background. Had to think of the word. So I've got my mat here that I'm using. I'm going to set that down on my clean surface. And I'm going to be thinking about, okay, where do I want my grass to be? And where do I want my sun to be? Kind of how high up? So, you know, I'm almost, it's about halfway for mine. But if you'll notice, I have a horizon line right here. I did not, when I was masking, I put this to mask. I'm going to start from the bottom and the sides, and I get lighter as I come up and leave it a little bit wispy. So when I come down with my yellow, I'm going to mask that, and then I'm going to start always at the top and come in. So we have the center that's going to be light, and I have this little white horizon line. So are you guys, a nod of the head, are you guys ready to go ahead and start your grass? Okay, great. So we're going to start the grass. Some people like to do it upside down. So they're coming towards, you know, wherever you like to do it, we're going to do the grass first. So kind of figure out where you want to go up with your grass, and then just lay your little mask there. I am using Old Olive for mine because it's just a really nice go-to, I think. But you can use any green color that you like. Remember, we're going to start at the bottom and then come in from the sides. This center is going to be blocked with our little garden path, so that really doesn't matter. But I'm just telling you the general principle because you're going to want to make sure you do the same thing when you do the top, which won't be masked. It won't be hidden with a garden path. So this kind of this will give you good practice, I guess. So I like to burnish, and I'm going in little circles because I wanted it to look kind of like little bunches of grass that needs to be mowed, I guess. I don't know. So some people like to pounce. Some people like to pounce like that, but that's going to give a completely different look. I mean, if you're a pouncer, go ahead and pounce, but I kind of tend to find that I like the look and the variety of it being smooth and blended in. Okay, so now once I get there, I've got this big line. Do you see how I have that line? So I really don't really want that line like that. So I'm just going to kind of come up, give it a little bit. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. But I came up and I made it a little more uneven. Okay. And that also kind of by coming up a little bit like that, it looks like it's kind of like it's grass. If you take a look at it, it looks like a grassy knoll. Okay, so that is my green. I am ready to start my yellow. I am using crushed curry. Now this one, I am not going to use my mask because I already know where I have to go with this. So I am not worried about that. I want to kind of see where my line, my little white horizon line-ish is going to be. So I'm going to start on the top, going darker on the top and on the side. And as I come in, it's getting lighter and lighter in color. Boy, I got really dark up there. I didn't take it off and I had a heavy sponge. But that's okay. I'm going to have to fix this. Don't do what I just showed you. See, this is why you pay me the big bucks, right? Okay. All right. So I'm not really excited or proud of that one, but anyway, you'll see where it's got the lighter color and then the center kind of the lighter color. So it's like sun that's just kind of moving around. Again, not as good as the one that I did the first one, but each little day is different than the other. So we're just going to call it a happy sunny day. I am going to go ahead and mount that on my very vanilla card base. I'm going to go ahead and just use some liquid glue because I'm going to be needing it for my other stuff. And mount that on so I am ready then to go to the next step. I like glue that is liquid because if you don't have it on straight, you've got a little bit of wiggle time. Okay, so now that I've kind of have my backdrop ready, we're going to put on the garden gate. And before I put it on, it comes in one piece, as I mentioned. So you're going to just need to snip. And what's really lovely is you'll see it's got this little line to make it easy to snip right down the middle of that. So I'm going to just do what it tells me to do and snip right down the middle of that line. I'm also going to fold it back on its hinge a little bit because once I have it down, I want it to be able to look kind of authentic. So I'm folding it back on itself. All right. So now you can also see, oh, this is the part that is going to get glued and not the gate part. So by doing that, it actually helps me as I'm going to glue. In this case, before I glue that, I was getting that prepped. I'm going to come back to what I set aside. And it's pretty dry, almost. If you were in a hurry, you could heat dry this with a heat tool. Mine is pretty dry, fairly dry. So I'm going to very gently add some glue to the back. I'm not going to smush down on it because I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, so it survived sitting that way. When I put it on, I'm going to put it all the way down on the bottom edge of my card base. I'm lining it all the way down to that. I wanted it to act like it was like what it is, a little garden path. I don't want to ruin my little standy up, so I'm trying to be careful of, oh, well, it's dry. Yeah, it is dry. Good. So I put it all the way down. And that way it's like a garden path just coming out to greet you. Yeah, it is a sparkly one, but you know, sometimes we need that little magic yellow brick road to take us to happy places. We do have it where it doesn't have the sparkles in it. We have flat embossing paste, but I had purchased the sparkly one, and I figured it would be even good when I'm doing a snow scene or something. Just kind of a fun way to add a little bit of sparkle. Okay, so I totally did that off screen. So I'm just taking my glue and just putting a little bit of glue around the arch here. And then I am going to set it down. So when I set it down, I want the gate to kind of come part way up. You know, you can kind of decide how high up you want your little garden thing to be. You know, a finger, if you, I put like a finger there, and then mine is pretty much close to like a little pinky width above, but it's your card. So you get to decide where you want it to be. Now, sometimes you might go, well, this doesn't have the illusion here of disappearing. So if you were like, wow, that's not, I want it to look like it's disappearing more into the grass. So what you can do is take the same color of a marker and then just kind of add a little bit of darkness, like kind of casts a little bit of a shadow, if you can see what I did there. It kind of casts a little bit of a shadow by just bringing a dark line, and it helps to set it down. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, but I think it just adds that extra little bit of pop to set it down. Now, I am going to take Early Espresso and take that wonderful hello sentiment. It's just the perfect size, the perfect sentiment for really any card, any just because card. And I'm just going to stamp that real quickly. All righty. You know what? That didn't come out as dark as I wanted. Let me see if I can do it better on the other side. Note to self, ink up ink pads. Okay. Come back. Yeah, that was darker. Okay. Now, when we come to putting, we're going to mount that on the side, coming in from the side along, we're going to mount that coming in from the side, and it's not going to start at the edge of the fold of the card, or I mean the edge of the card. It's going to start on the edge here and come in. But because I've got this wonderful vine effect, I have to be careful on how I put it on. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this and then the arch. You're going to find in the die, there are two sizes. You have a large and a small. And I just, for you club gals, I just cut out a large and a small. So you have two sets, a large and a small to go on one side and a large and a small to go on the other. The large one is going to be put along the base, and then the small one kind of angles up top, and that's what gives us this look. So the large one and then the small one. Okay, I did flip one of these around because I wanted them to be mirror images of each other. So this is flipped backwards because I didn't want them all going the same way. I wanted them to look, for me, mirror. But you could do what you want to do because it's your card. But this is what I wanted to show you first. An easy way to get these little guys on, because they're kind of delicate, and you're like, well, gee, that's not going to be a whole lot of fun. So what you can do is, if you have a glue mat or a piece of scrap paper or whatever, you can just put a little bit of glue. Won't take a lot. A little dab will do ya of liquid glue. Take a sponge. These will later on wash out really easily for you. Take a sponge. I'm going to do this one this way, making sure I'm using, okay. And I'm going to just get my sponge kind of inked up that way, and I am going to just do that. And then I've got all my glue on where I need it to be. So I'm going to put this little guy here, and I'm going to bring him this way. And what I love about it is it sticks on so well because it's got all those little edges covered. And if I didn't feel like I put enough glue down, you can always just add another little glue dot if you need. Be careful when you come with your second piece that you don't lay it in the same spot because there might be a little glue residue there. You could wipe this, if I wanted, I could, I could wipe that. And I don't have a dryer. I use my pants. There we go. I could do that, and then I would know that I wouldn't be putting it down in glue again. So I'm going to take another little sponge. That's why I told you, ladies, you needed 3 sponges for this because this was the 3rd sponge. And I'm going to add some glue like that. And I'm going to put this kind of like right on the inside of that little nozzle there. I don't know what you call that. So when I did this, I started the edge right where this little bump out, and I put it on the side of that because I wanted it to look like it was almost wrapping around. Now for this next one, on the other side, get a little more glue. I'm being stingy with my glue today. For me, I decided to flip this around to use the opposite way because I did not want it to look like it was the same thing. I wanted just to give the more of a wild illusion. So I'm going to put the glue on the quote top side of what was the top side of the other one I put down. Now I'm not going to glue the tippy top. I'm going to kind of hold it there because I need a way to put my sign down. And let's see if I put it like that. Doot, 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 doot. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to slide my sign in. Put glue on it. I'm going to slide my sign underneath it like, and I know you can't really see me, so I apologize. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. So I'm sliding my sign underneath that and lining it up against the edge of the mat. So you can see where this now comes a little bit on top. And then my last one, again, I have it going the opposite way. So I'm going to put the glue on the quote nicer. On our dies, when you die cut, you get like kind of a nice rounded and a flat side. So the nice rounded side is the side that we normally have, facing up. But it really has a nice effect when you don't have your leaves looking like identicals of each other, your vines. And I'm just going to put this maybe here, kind of joining up there a little bit. Like that. But again, it's your card and you could put that wherever you want to put it. Now, when I told you the first time I did it, I reused the doily from the other card, and some of that color had gotten in here, which was kind of a happy, fun surprise. If this pavement seems too not stone-like enough, you could always go back. I'm not going to do it for real, but you could always go back with a color and a sponge and then just kind of pounce on it to put a little like gray granite or a different color that you might have in it. So one thing while you're finishing up, one thing I want to show you because you guys will notice, well, first off, I'll show you when you cut out, you guys did not get this, but when you cut out the garden gate, you have a piece that looks like this. I don't know if you can see it well enough. Let me give a background. Okay, there. You have a piece that looks like this that the gate came in, and then you'll have this little Pac-Man looking thing. I gave this one to you, and we're going to have a challenge with it. But I wanted to show you, as I was messing around with an idea, I had laid this down, and then I drew a line on either side of it. And you won't be able to see it really well because I'm not done with it. But I thought it just spoke to me of architectural stuff. Can you all see that? So I thought, if I did that and then did it dark and then did a hello, doesn't that remind you of going through like a tunnel or something? Just an architectural kind of card. So I just made a horizon point and started messing around with it. But I thought, oh my goodness, look what I got just from a scrap piece of paper, or scrap leftover. So when I was looking at this piece that I had included in your kit, that little Pac-Man piece, I turned it upside down. I said, oh, look, and you could put someone's face here. And then he's got the Archie little hair, crew cut thing. And then I started messing with it, and I added a punch to it. One of our label punches, which had the little thing cut out on the side. Once I did that and laid it on and I turned it upside down, it was, all of a sudden she had hair. It was a girl with hair. And then so I just snipped up a little bit up the sides, right? And then, of course, I had to have a mask because this is COVID. So I took some of our white ribbon, and on the back of it, I just, taped it together on the back, with some baker's twine, and it made a mask. The eyes were made with just punches, office little punches, and then put a little white dot in there. And then the shirt was just, I don't even know if I used a punch. I didn't. I just kind of cut something like that just for a shirt and tuck her in from the side. I loved this effect with just folding designer paper. It was a square of designer paper that I basically cut open and folded it back and then folded it back over on itself. And that's what gave me this cute little window that she actually looks like she's saying help. No, she's not. So your assignment will be to do a card that you're going to do something with this. And for all of you that do that, I will have a little special surprise in your bag with your order. So there's a lot of things, this almost could be a jellyfish. It could be a ghosty thing. I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff with this, but that is going to be your assignment, is to be able to do something with this piece. You'll also notice that I gave you ladies some ribbon, some beautiful purple ribbon. It had retired, but it was just too gorgeous not to get it into your hands. So if you want, you can use that ribbon on your card, your mystery card that you make with that little piece, or you could just use it on your own for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I forgot I didn't do that yet. And we'll just gab and finish up your cards.